Hello, greetings from Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. At the outset, I want to thank Johnny Taylor and Misha Leslie of the Thurgood Marshall Fund for inviting me to participate in this conversation with the folks that are gathered out there in Atlanta, Georgia. I wish I were there in person, in the same room with you having this conversation. Unfortunately, I cannot because of conflict. The White House is hosting an award ceremony for these young faculty members from across America. These are called the Presidential Early Career Awards, and these individuals are being recognized for their efforts in the scientific arena itself. In addition to that, in fact, Johnny and Misha probably recognize that my voice sounds a little different. In part, 'tis the season. This is when most of the flowers are in bloom. In fact, those of you that are from Washington, D.C. or have been to D.C. at this time of the year, you know the cherry blossoms are in bloom as well. And I've got a serious case of allergies. So from time to time, I'm going to interrupt myself here and take a sip of my hot tea as well, so it soothes my throat. In any case, in my conversation with Misha particularly, we talked about what I should be doing in this about half-hour speech that I was going to give you. And what I wanted to focus on was really three different things. One of them is a little bit about my agency itself, the National Institute of Food and Agriculture. Then I want to talk to you a little bit about the funding opportunities that are available to our historically black institutions in general and our 1890s institutions in particular. And then end my talk about how these institutions are really part of this effort that we need, this concerted effort that we need to be able to address the societal challenges that we've got. So first about my agency, the National Institute of Food and Agriculture. This is an agency that is part of the United States Department of Agriculture in the U.S. government. And the agency itself has the responsibility to make sure that we are developing the discoveries needed to address issues pertaining to food security, climate change, bioenergy, water, obesity and nutrition, food safety, and youth, families, and communities. That's our primary responsibility. In addition to that, we also have the responsibility to support the enterprise across the United States of taking these discoveries, translating them, and delivering them to the end users through this effort we call extension. I like to call it this capital E extension, where the knowledge is translated and delivered to the end users. The third part of the mission that we support is education itself. That is to ensure that the colleges and universities across America are able to provide and meet the educational needs of our young people that are coming into our workforce itself. That's bottom line what we do. Our budget, by the way, for the agency is about $1.5 billion. And those dollars come to us in approximately two big buckets. The first big bucket of almost about $900 million, about $850 to $900 million, is distributed across America to offer capacity within the constellation of universities referred to as land-grant universities. There are a number of different types of land-grant universities that we have, that we support, and these include what we call as the 1862s, and that would include institutions like Purdue and University of California, Davis, and Texas A&M, and others. The second group of institutions are the 1890s. These would be the historically black institutions such as Fort Valley State University, Tennessee State University, Tuskegee University, and others across our nation. The third group of institutions, we refer to them as 1994s, and these meet the needs of our Native American populations. And then we have a fourth group referred to as HISACUs, HSACUs. These are the Hispanic Serving Agricultural Colleges and Universities. The numbers that I shared with you, 1862, 1890, 1994, etc., those are the years when the act was passed that established those institutions. For the HISACUs, the act was passed in March of 2012. We just refer to them as HISACUs, or HACUs as well, Hispanic Agricultural Colleges and Universities. So the capacity funds, the almost $900 million, is distributed to these universities only, these institutions only, and it is done based on different formulas that we have been given by Congress. So as I said earlier, that allows these institutions to develop and to deploy capacity in the food, agricultural, natural resource, and human sciences areas. The remaining funding that we have, approximately about $600 million, is offered up in the form of competitive grants. And these competitive grants, every institution, academic or otherwise, is eligible to apply for these grants. And indeed, about 75% of the funding goes to the land-grant universities because they know us, they've known us for a long time. Indeed, we're joined at the hips. And the remaining 25% either goes to scientists at federal agencies or non-land-grant public institutions or private institutions, even institutions such as MIT or Duke University may apply for funding. And also individuals may apply for funding as well. Nonprofit entities and others can apply for funding as well. The competitive grants that we provide and the capacity funds that we provide, as I said, it's all in the realm of food, agriculture, natural resources, and human sciences. And our intent is truly to address these societal challenges that I referred to earlier. This would be climate change. This would be obesity and nutrition. This would be related to sustainable bioenergy. This would be related to food security and youth and family issues as well. These are the challenges that we're all facing, and we need to keep our eye on these, and we need to enable the discoveries that we need. We need to enable the education of the young people that need to continually come into these enterprises as well. And that's our purview in the kind of funding that we provide. So that's about the National Institute of Food and Agriculture itself. Now, coming more specifically to the opportunities that are available in terms of funding for the various institutions across the United States. Again, the approach that we take is the investments that we make are mandated in part by Congress. We have an entity, an instrument that is referred to as the Farm Bill. And those of you that pay attention to this, the Farm Bill was passed just recently, and President Obama signed it on the campus of Michigan State University back in February. And this Farm Bill gives us the rules of the game. There are 6 priorities that Congress has articulated. And these priorities include everything from plant and animal agriculture to bioenergy, natural resources and the environment, to obesity and nutrition, to food safety, to rural and community development. Those are the areas that we are supposed to be focusing on. So we get the top-down priorities from Congress. In addition to that, the President of the United States provides us his priorities. The Secretary of Agriculture provides us his priorities. And then we do listening sessions. We do formal and informing listening sessions around the country. These are the formal listening sessions are advertised in the Federal Register. We call for people to participate in these listening sessions. And during these listening sessions, we seek input on what the priorities might ought to be. We take the top-down priorities from Congress, the President and the Secretary, the bottom-up priorities from these listening sessions, put them all together, and I like to think we mash them up. And my scientific staff, we call them the National Program Leaders, they tap into it and pull out the priorities that go into our request for applications that we advertise. Again, everything we do has to, by law, be advertised. And we advertise them in the Federal Register. We send them out to various listservs. And if you would like to receive these advertisements, please let me know. My email address, go ahead, write it down now, and I'll repeat it again at the end. It is very simply Sonny, SONNY, @NIFA.USDA.gov. And again, Johnny Taylor and Misha know how to get in touch with me as well. So please go ahead and send me any request, and we will give you the information that you're seeking as well. Now, very specifically, these requests for applications, the short term, the terminology that we use, the acronym we use is RFA, Request for Applications. The RFAs that we put out, the priorities, are truly intended to address these societal challenges. I keep talking about these societal challenges. And these societal challenges of climate change, the droughts that we have had, the extreme weather events that we've got, the need for food that needs to be safe and secure, all these challenges are in large measure being driven by the population challenge that we've got. If you project out, today we've got a population of a bit over 7 billion people on Earth. And if you project that out to the year 2050, we're going to have a population that's going to exceed well over 9.5 billion people. We'll have about 2.5 more billion people on Earth than we do today. And various scientists have undertaken some studies that suggest that in the year 2050, to feed that population, we will need to double our food production. And in that context of doubling our food production, we have diminishing land and water resources. We have changing incomes and diets. We have increasing urbanization. These are the constraints that we've got as well that we need to be concerned about, along with climate change, along with all the other things that we've talked about as well, these societal challenges. And so the question is, how do we do it? Do we have the manpower, the requisite workforce available to be able to make those new discoveries? I dare say that we are not able to meet the demand that we've got of the actual workforce itself. So the historically black institutions, our 1890s institutions, are a very critical part of our ability to get the manpower that can help us get to where we are from today to the year 2050, the discoveries that need to be made, the knowledge that needs to be translated and delivered to the end users through the extension systems, and the young people that need to be coming in to discover this new knowledge, the young people that need to come in to be part of the workforce, the young people that need to come in to actually raise the crops and livestock as well. So we need to be addressing all of these enterprises. And if we said that we're going to be able to rely on only the 1862s, we're not going to be able to get from where we need to be. It will take the sort of a crowdsourcing approach of bringing together the best and brightest from around our nation to be able to address this challenges that we've got. So, in our experience, we have this long history ever since 1890. Our agency has had this connection with the 1890s institutions. Ever since I came on board as the director of this agency, I have had the privilege of traveling and interacting with our faculty and students at many of our 1890s institutions. And our 1890s institutions and our other historically black institutions are ready. They have the manpower, they have the intellectual resources to be able to bring to the table to address these societal challenges. We have a number of instruments that we use to, when I say instruments, different programs that we've got that we deploy resources in. And I want to tell you a little bit about those different resources that we've got, the different programs that we've got. So these programs that we have under the competitive grants programs, our flagship program is referred to as the Agriculture and Food Research Initiative. This Agriculture and Food Research Initiative is very specifically has three different parts to it. We provide approximately about $320 million per year of funding. And as I said, all institutions are eligible to apply, not just the land grants. And so the other historically black institutions that are represented here today are also eligible to apply for these. And our priorities basically are either in addressing these societal challenges or in discovering the fundamental knowledge that we need to address these societal challenges. Those are two. And the third one we do is offer funding for PhD students and postdoctoral research associates, because we're concerned about the scientific cadre that needs to continue to be nurtured as well. So you have an opportunity within the AFRI program to seek funding. Again, remember that these priorities are set based on the listening sessions that we do and from what we hear from Congress, from the President and the Secretary as well. Our request for applications, which is posted on our website and in the Federal Register and other places, has specific information on the priorities. These priorities, they vary from year to year, by the way. For example, this year, one of the priorities that we've got is on water. So if you've got expertise an interest in addressing the issue of water, then you might want to be submitting grant proposals to us. Another area that we have created is what we call as exploratory research grants. These are for the blue sky research that needs to be done, and these are smaller grants, only about $100,000, and it doesn't require a long grant proposal to be written, just about a 5-6 page document. And indeed, you can submit it, and the decision making is done internally as well. And you'll get an answer back very, very quickly whether your proposal is going to succeed or not. In terms of the other AFRI programs, our funding ranges from about $500,000 on up to $15 to $20 million. We truly are investing significant amounts of money in addressing obesity, nutrition, food safety, child issues, children's issues, and climate change and food security and things like that. Some other programs that we've got that might be of relevance to you. We have a program referred to as the FASE program. The FASE program, F-A-S-E, stands for the Food and Agricultural Sciences Enhancement, FASE program. We set aside 10% of our AFRI funding, so that approximates about $30 million. That is made available to small institutions and minority serving institutions. So you might want to look at our FACE programs as well, and you may be eligible for funding there. And again, the competition is pretty intense on all these grants, but certainly the FACE program offers you yet another opportunity. In addition to the AFRI program, we have a few other programs as well. We have one called the Specialty Crops Research Initiative. It's about fruit and vegetables. And we've got the Organic Research and Extension Initiative. As the name suggests, it's about organics. We have the Beginning Farmer and Rancher Development Initiative. As you may know, the American farming population is aging very rapidly, and the most recent agricultural census suggested that the age of the American farmer is 58.3 years of age. We all need to be concerned that we got to have young people coming into this agricultural enterprise, and so that might be another area that you may be interested in submitting grant proposals for as well. The last thing I wanted to talk about is about the young people themselves, this educational pipeline that we need to be nurturing. We have had surveys undertaken, and others have undertaken these surveys as well. It turns out in the United States, we're generating about 60,000 jobs per year, broadly read in the food, agricultural, natural resource, and human sciences areas. 60,000 jobs. The sum total of graduates that these land-grant universities are generating, sum total, is less than half of that. About approximately 30,000 individuals are being graduated. That means we're falling short of almost 30,000 graduates to meet this demand that we've got in jobs. So the non-land grant historically black institutions might be interested in this. If you're interested, again, send me an email. I'll point you in the direction of my staff that could give you additional information about this as well. We're deeply concerned about it, and I hope that the other HBCUs will step up and seek information from us about how they might participate in making sure that young people are being educated and can join us in meeting our agricultural job needs that we've got. In addition to that, in the scientific arena, a survey was undertaken. In fact, it was released just about 3 weeks ago. 6 companies such as Monsanto and Dow AgroSciences and others, they did a survey, and it turns out in just the next 2 years, they need 11,000 scientific positions to be replaced. 1,100 scientific positions to be replaced. 1,100. And I can tell you, we're not going to be able to do that as a nation. Again, great opportunity for our HBCUs, along with our 1890s and other land-grant universities, to step up and see how you can meet this demand that's out there. Incidentally, the job opportunities are fantastic. Graduates are being offered 2 to 3 jobs as they're graduating, and the salaries are every bit as competitive as for graduates in business and engineering disciplines as well. So seriously, you might want to think about the opportunities that we've got. In addition to this meeting, this generally the needs that we've got of meeting the workforce demands that are out there. I want to talk a little bit about the Multicultural Scholars Program. This is another program that we've got. As the name suggests, this program is intended to increase the number of young people of color and women coming into the food, agricultural, natural resource, and human sciences areas. These are grants that we offer competitively that you and your faculty may be interested in applying for. And again, there's a lot more detail available to you on our website. You might be interested in this. Along with the Multicultural Scholars Program, if you've got a veterinary science program, Tuskegee has one such program. We do offer the veterinary medical loan repayment program as well. That might be of interest to you. Or maybe as an institution, you might be partnering with another institution that does have a veterinary science program, and that you might be, helping educate the young people that go into those veterinary programs. You might want to point this opportunity out to them as well. The next item that I wanted to touch on are what are called as the National Needs Fellowships Program. Again, within the food, agricultural, natural resources, and human sciences areas, we have very significant need to meet, to have young people coming in. And you could go ahead and, again, contact us about the national needs that are out there. On our RFAs, we make available information as well. So you may want to look into it and about these national needs fellowships. These are for graduate students, by the way. The last thing I wanted to touch base with you on are I'll give you a few examples of where some of our 1890s institutions have had success in getting funding from us. The first one is North Carolina A&T University. They received a $500,000 grant for food safety. As you know, a number of food items contain allergens in them, such as gluten and wheat, and compounds in peanuts and other nuts that people may be allergic to. And this project that North Carolina A&T University is undertaking is trying to help understand how can you mitigate the impact of these allergens in food. A second project that I want to highlight is Tennessee State University received $4.6 million from us, and this one is on obesity prevention. And they're actually targeting young children on developing ways to prevent obesity in young children. $4.6 million. The third project I wanted to highlight is at Fort Valley State University. They received almost $1 million, $970,000. And that particular project is on developing biomass feedstock to meet our bioenergy needs. And then the very last example that I want to give you is the Tuskegee University has been provided almost $700,000 here recently under the Beginning Farmers and Ranchers Development Program. And the intent there is they've created a consortium for agricultural newcomers and access to learning. It's called the CANAL program, Consortium for Agricultural Newcomers Access to Learning. And they're developing it as a vehicle to attract new people coming in to become farmers and ranchers as well. So that's the Beginning Farmers and Ranchers Development Program. So as you can see, we have a number of programs that are available to you. I would encourage you, if you've got colleagues from the 1890s institutions that are out there, you can talk to them because they know quite a bit about the programs that we've got. Of course, I gave you my email address. I'll give it to you again now. It's Sonny at NIFA, NIFA, SONNY at NIFA, NIFA.USDA.gov. Send me an email and I point you in the right direction. Incidentally, our website address is very simply NIFA, NIFA.USDA.gov. I would encourage you to please check that website out. Come on out, look at it. If you don't find the information you need that you're looking for, send me a note and I'll point you in the right direction. Again, thank you very much for having me address your group, and I wish you all the best. Bye-bye.